Welcome to the Bible Quiz. Are you ready to embark on an exciting journey through the Old Testament? Today, we bring you 25 unique and challenging multiple-choice questions that will test your knowledge of the Bible's most notable stories, characters, and lessons. From prophets and kings to events and spiritual teachings, this quiz is designed to challenge even the most knowledgeable Bible geek. Before you begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support helps us continue to share rich Bible content with you. So, are you ready to embark on this incredible journey through the Old Testament? Let's get started. Question 1. Whose wife threw their son's foreskin at her husband's feet? A. Isaac. B. Moses. C. Ishmael. D. Samson. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Moses. Exodus, chapter 4, verses 24 to 26. Zipporah, Moses' wife, intervened when God sought to kill Moses for failing to circumcise their son. She quickly performed the circumcision herself and threw the foreskin at Moses' feet, saying, "You are a bridegroom of blood to me." This act not only saved Moses' life, but also symbolized the seriousness of the covenant with God. Question 2. Who posed as a harlot to sleep with her father-in-law? A. Ruth. B. Tamar. C. Delilah. D. Bathsheba. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Tamar. Genesis chapter 38, verses 14 to 19. Tamar disguised herself as a prostitute to seduce Judah, her father-in-law, after he failed to keep his promise of giving her his youngest son in marriage. This act led to the birth of twins, Perez and Zerah, continuing the family line that would eventually include King David and Jesus. Tamar's story reflects themes of justice and divine providence. Question 3. Who raped his own sister? A. Judah. B. Reuben. C. Amnon. D. Absalom. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Amnon. 2 Samuel, chapter 13, verses 1 to 14. Amnon, son of King David, fell in love with his half-sister Tamar. Driven by obsession, he deceived her and ultimately raped her. This tragic act not only devastated Tamar's life, but also led to severe consequences within David's family, including Absalom's revenge. This story highlights the destructive nature of sin and the far-reaching impacts of poor choices in familial relationships. Question 4. Who got angry at his sons for excessively avenging his daughter's rape? A. Eli. B. Isaac. C. Jacob. D. David. You get 10 seconds. That's D. David. 2 Samuel, chapter 13, verses 28 to 29. After Amnon raped Tamar, her brother Absalom killed him in revenge. When King David heard of Amnon's death, he was furious, thinking all his sons were dead. Upon learning only Amnon was killed, David's anger turned to Absalom for his extreme retaliation. This story highlights the consequences of vengeance and the turmoil within David's family. Question 5. Which judge of Israel sacrificed his own daughter? A. Ehud. B. Gideon. C. Samson. D. Jephthah. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Jephthah. Judges chapter 11 verses 30 to 40. Jephthah, an Israelite judge, made a vow to God that if he was victorious in battle, he would sacrifice whatever came out of his house first. Tragically, his only daughter came out to greet him. Bound by his vow, Jephthah fulfilled it, offering her as a sacrifice. This story emphasizes the weight of vows made to God and the tragic consequences of rash promises. Cherished friend, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more great and engaging content in the future. Question 6. Whose mother committed incest with her own father to preserve his seed? A. Moab. B. Isaac. C. Esau. D. Tamar. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Moab. After the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's daughters believed there were no men left to preserve their family line. In desperation, they got their father drunk and slept with him to conceive children. This resulted in the birth of Moab and Ben-Ami, ancestors of the Moabites and Ammonites. The act reflects both the daughters' desperation and the moral decline after Sodom's fall. Genesis chapter 19, verses 30 to 36. Question 7. Who was killed by a tent peg driven through his head after possibly having sex with his slayer? A. Haman. B. Sisera. C. Goliath. D. Abimelech. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Sisera. Judges chapter 4, verses 17 to 22. Sisera, the commander of the Canaanite army, fled after his defeat and sought refuge in the tent of Jael. After giving him milk and offering safety, Jael waited until Sisera fell asleep, then drove a tent peg through his temple, killing him. This act of courage by Jael secured victory for Israel and demonstrated God's deliverance through unexpected means. Question 8. Who married a foreigner without being punished while someone who complained was punished? A. Boaz. B. Samson. C. Moses. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Moses. Numbers chapter 12, verses 1 to 10. Moses married a Cushite woman, which caused his siblings, Aaron and Miriam, to complain. God defended Moses, rebuking Miriam and Aaron for speaking against him. As a result, Miriam was struck with leprosy as a punishment, showing that Moses was favored despite marrying a foreigner, while those who opposed him were punished. Question 9. Whose wife turned into a pillar of salt because she disobeyed the angel's instructions? A. Lot. B. Noah. C. Isaac. D. Jacob. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Lot. Genesis chapter 19, verse 26. Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt when she disobeyed the angel's command not to look back as they fled the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Her act of looking back symbolized her attachment to the sinful city, and her punishment serves as a reminder of the consequences of disobedience to God's commands. Question 10. Which Israelite judge destroyed the altar of Baal built by his father? A. Othniel. B. Gideon. C. Samson. D. Deborah. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Gideon. Judges chapter 6 verses 25 to 27. Gideon, before becoming a prominent judge of Israel, was commanded by God to destroy the altar of Baal that his father had built. In obedience, Gideon tore down the altar and replaced it with an altar to the Lord. This act signified his rejection of idol worship and began his journey as a leader in Israel's deliverance from the Midianites. Question 11. Who was thrown into a den of lions for praying to his God? A. Elijah. B. Ezekiel. C. Isaiah. D. Daniel. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Daniel. Daniel chapter 6 verses 16 to 24. Daniel was thrown into a den of lions after he continued to pray to God despite a royal decree forbidding prayer to anyone but the king. Miraculously, God shut the lions' mouths and Daniel emerged unharmed. His faithfulness led to his vindication, while those who conspired against him were thrown into the lions' den and killed. Question 12. Who was deceived into marrying the elder sister before the woman he loved? A. Esau. B. Laban. C. Jacob. D. Samson. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Jacob. Genesis chapter 29 verses 23 to 25. Jacob, after working 7 years to marry Rachel, was deceived by her father Laban into marrying her elder sister Leah instead. Laban justified the deception by saying it was customary to marry the eldest first. Jacob later married Rachel after working an additional 7 years, highlighting his deep love and dedication. Question 13. Who fell asleep under a broom tree and was fed by an angel? A. Elijah. B. Isaiah. C. Elisha. D. Jeremiah. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Elijah. After fleeing from Queen Jezebel, the prophet Elijah, exhausted and despairing, lay down under a broom tree and ask God to take his life. Instead, an angel appeared and provided him with food and water, sustaining him for his journey. This moment symbolized God's care and provision for Elijah during a time of deep distress. 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 4 to 8. Question 14. Who disobeyed God by keeping spoils of war and was stoned to death? A. Saul. B. Korah. C. Achan. D. Samson. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Achan. Joshua chapter 7 verses 1 to 26. Achan disobeyed God by taking spoils from the conquest of Jericho, which God had forbidden. As a result, Israel faced defeat in battle. After his sin was revealed, Achan and his family were stoned to death as punishment. His story serves as a warning about the consequences of disobedience to God's commands. Question 15. Who was known for his great wisdom and judgment between two women claiming the same baby? A. David. B. Nathan. C. Samuel. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Solomon. 1 Kings chapter 3 verses 16 to 28. King Solomon, known for his extraordinary wisdom, judged a dispute between two women both claiming to be the mother of the same baby. Solomon proposed cutting the baby in half to see how the women would react. The true mother immediately offered to give up her claim to save the child's life, revealing her identity. This judgment solidified Solomon's reputation as a wise and just ruler. Question 16. Which figure was murdered by his brother due to jealousy over God's favor? A. Abel. B. Esau. C. Jacob. D. Ishmael. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Abel. Genesis chapter 4 verses 3 to 8. Cain killed his brother Abel out of jealousy because God favored Abel's offering over his. Despite God's warning, Cain's jealousy led him to commit the first murder in human history, marking the beginning of conflict fueled by envy and pride. Question 17. Who was struck dead for touching the Ark of the Covenant? A. Korah. B. Uzzah. C. Achan. D. Phinehas. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Uzzah. 2 Samuel chapter 6 verses 6 to 7. Uzzah was struck dead by God for touching the Ark of the Covenant when the oxen carrying it stumbled. Although his action seemed to prevent the ark from falling, it violated God's strict command not to touch the holy object, illustrating the importance of obedience to God's instructions. Question 18. Who was swallowed by a great fish after fleeing from God's command? A. Elijah. B. Aaron. C. Jonah. D. Moses. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Jonah. Jonah, after trying to flee from God's command to preach to Nineveh, was swallowed by a great fish. Jonah chapter 1, verse 17. He spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the fish before being spat out. This event underscores the inescapability of God's call and the power of repentance and redemption. Question 19. Who was the only spy allowed to enter the Promised Land? A. Joshua. B. Moses. C. Aaron. D. Caleb. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Caleb. Numbers chapter 14, verse 30. Out of the 12 spies sent by Moses to scout the Promised Land, only Joshua and Caleb returned with a positive report, showing faith in God's promise. However, Caleb was the only one specifically mentioned as being allowed to enter the Promised Land, along with Joshua, because of his faithfulness and unwavering trust in God's plan. Question 20. Which queen of Israel led the nation into Baal worship? A. Ruth. B. Delilah. C. Jezebel. D. Hannah. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Jezebel. 1 Kings chapter 16 verses 31 to 33. Jezebel, the wife of King Ahab, was a Phoenician princess who introduced the worship of Baal to Israel. She not only promoted idolatry, but also persecuted the prophets of God. Her influence led Israel astray, inciting God's anger against the nation. Jezebel's story is a stark reminder of the consequences of leading others into sin and opposing God's people. Stay with us until the end of the video to see how many Bible quiz questions you got right. Don't forget to note your score and share it with us in the comments section. Let's explore and learn more about the Bible with these fun and interesting questions. Question 21. Who was betrayed by his Philistine lover who cut his hair and weakened him? A. Samson. B. Solomon. C. Absalom. D. Jonathan. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Samson. Samson, known for his immense strength, fell in love with Delilah, a Philistine woman. She betrayed him by cutting his hair, the source of his strength, after being bribed by the Philistine leaders. Samson's capture and subsequent blindness serve as a powerful lesson about the dangers of placing trust in the wrong people and straying from God's path. Judges chapter 16, verses 18 to 21. Question 22. Who was the Israelite woman who hid the Hebrew spies in Jericho, saving her family? A. Ruth. B. Rahab. C. Esther. D. Deborah. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Rahab. Joshua chapter 2, verses 1 to 21. Rahab, a woman living in Jericho, hid 2 Hebrew spies sent by Joshua. In return for her kindness and bravery, she and her family were spared during the Israelites' conquest of the city. Rahab's faith in God's power and her act of courage not only saved her family, but also placed her in the lineage of Jesus. Question 23. Who succeeded Moses and led the Israelites in the conquest of the Promised Land? A. Caleb. B. Aaron. C. Gideon. D. Joshua. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Joshua. After Moses' death, Joshua guided the people through battles and conquests, including the fall of Jericho. His leadership and faith in God's promises enabled Israel to claim their inheritance. Joshua's story highlights the importance of courage, obedience, and trust in God's guidance. Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 to 9. Question 24. Who held up Moses' hands to ensure Israel's victory in battle? A. Aaron and Hur. B. Gideon and Barak. C. Joshua and Caleb. D. Eleazar and Ithamar. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Aaron and Hur. Exodus chapter 17, verses 10 to 13. During the battle against the Amalekites, Moses held up his hands as a sign of intercession, and as long as his hands were raised, Israel prevailed. When Moses grew tired, Aaron and Hur supported his hands, ensuring Israel's victory. This event underscores the power of prayer and the importance of supporting one another in times of struggle. Question 25. Which prophet's sons were killed for stealing offerings and immoral behavior? A. Samuel. B. Nathan. C. Elijah. D. Eli. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Eli. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verses 12 to 25. Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, served as priests but were corrupt, stealing from the offerings and engaging in immoral behavior. Their actions angered God, leading to their deaths in battle as a punishment. This story illustrates the severe consequences of disregarding God's commands, especially for those in positions of spiritual authority. Amazing! Congratulations on completing our deep dive into 25 unique Old Testament quiz questions. Whether you aced the quiz or gained new insights, remember that the Word of God is an endless source of wisdom, always inviting us to explore further. If you enjoyed this quiz, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends and family. Let's spread the excitement of biblical learning. Don't forget to subscribe for more engaging quizzes and deeper insights. We'd love to hear your scores and any suggestions for future quizzes in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today. May your journey through the scriptures be enriching and blessed. See you in the next video.